I'm Francesca Maxime.
And I'm Matt McClure, and this is Currents. It's never too early for a 4th of July parade.
When times are rough, we band together as Americans and we celebrate our independence and our patriotism.
Vacationing or volunteering, 2 ways to spend your summer.
Teaching English or tutoring. It could be helping out in an orphanage, conservation type projects as well.
A high schooler with patriotic pride.
Promote Catholic ideals and moral beliefs and share them with others.
Good evening. 4th of July is almost here, and some in Brooklyn already started celebrating.
That's right, and last weekend, yes, I said last weekend, we headed on over to a parade that's an institution in South Brooklyn.
Happy 4th of July!
Knights of Columbus are a Catholic fraternal organization, and one of their major values is patriotism. And that's why we have this parade every year, like 104 years. We say it's the longest parade in the United States.
We have almost 2 million members in over 13,000 councils throughout the world. When times are rough, we band together as Americans and we celebrate our independence and our patriotism.
I've been in the Knights of Columbus since 1960, and I moved up from one chair to the next until I became the navigator. The navigator is like the president of the organization. I enjoy the Knights of Columbus because it's a charitable organization. It helps millions and millions of people.
Well, we have a Pro Patria Award, which is like a patriotism award, and we're giving it to Monsignor Marino, who's the pastor of Regina Pacis.
It is an award which honors someone who is an exemplary citizen of the United States and a good Catholic. And I am very happy that my brother Knights decided that I am such a person. It's an honor for me.
Then we have a Community Service Award, and we're giving that to Mr. Tom Nevy, who runs a food pantry on New Utrecht Avenue. And he really is an amazing worker, and he's great. And the third award is our Grand Marshal, who's a brother Knight. And we honor him, being a Knight for such a long time.
They thought I was going to fall on my face. It wasn't a long walk. It was only 21 blocks. If you keep in time with the music, with your step, and walk lightly, you can make it. I did. It's no problem.
And what's nice about it, it's a neighborhood parade. And we have a lot of the neighborhood leaders involved with it. We try to make it a fun day for everybody. Boy Scouts in uniform, the Girl Scouts in uniform. The Knights come with their little symbol, waving flags. That's the way to go. It's a fun day.
I've been in a lot of parades, but I like to march in a lot of them. I'm very excited. I like to march, and I like to hear people clap when we pass by.
The Knights of Columbus, they're getting an early start on their Independence Day celebration, and a great one.
It really is, and those hats that they wear are so familiar to me because my grandfather was a Knight for decades, and it just brings me back to my childhood too. It's great. I love it. Well, there's much more Currents ahead. Coming up, we'll have a look at another organization doing good work abroad.
Welcome back to Currents. I'm Matt McClure.
And I'm Francesca Maxime. Well, summer is in full swing despite some of the rain here and there that won't go away. And plenty of people have vacations on their minds.
To get to somewhere that doesn't have all the rain,
exactly.
Right? Many people, though, are using their vacation time to volunteer, as we first discovered a couple of weeks ago. Here again is an interview that I did with the director of a volunteer organization. Tell me a little bit about the organization and what you do.
Great. The IVPA stands for International Volunteer Programs Association. It's a national association for organizations that are involved in international volunteering abroad. So they organize trips and internships abroad for people that want to go and serve.
Great. So you kind of give them the old seal of approval there.
Exactly. To become a member, they have to adhere to the best practices and principles listed on our website and go through a rigorous application process.
Gotcha. What are some of those standards that you hold them to?
They deal with program standards, so are they upfront about their program costs? It deals with the programmatic side, so how are they involved in the community? Is it a partnership? Are they using local partner organizations as well? It runs the gamut. There's 35 different best practices.
Gotcha.
So
you cracked the whip on
yes.
That. Okay, great. Now, what kinds of things do volunteers go to do and help out with? You said that your standards run the gamut. Is this kind of one of those things that runs the gamut as well?
Definitely. We've seen a huge explosion in the interest in international volunteering, and so there are a wide variety of options for people that are interested. A lot of it are for short-term, perhaps unskilled volunteers. So it could be teaching English or tutoring. It could be helping out in an orphanage, conservation type projects as well, to manual labor, helping build homes and painting. So.
Yeah. Well, I was telling you as we're having a conversation before we went on air with this segment about an experience that I had several years ago. I went with my church as a chaperone on a trip to actually Indianapolis, and it was a great experience just from my point of view. It was so fulfilling because what we did was we kind of split off into different groups and actually helped put gutters on people's homes, paint their garage if they needed it, make some repairs around the house. And actually the woman that we worked with, she was an elderly handicapped woman who was living under the poverty line. So it was just a very fulfilling experience. What kind of stories do you hear from folks who have come back from going on a trip like this?
Yeah, alumni report that it really impacts their life in a positive way. They feel like they now have a broader understanding of cultural experiences as well as what people are living like around the world. It gives them a great appreciation for what they have. A lot of times people are volunteering with the poorest of the poor, and so it makes them realize that they perhaps don't need a lot of things in their life that they thought they needed before. And they just come away with a love of the community that they're serving. And I think that's a really important aspect. It builds cross-cultural understanding.
Yeah. Well, I definitely know that all of that was true, and from my personal experience, from being involved in that, it just really helps to help those that are less fortunate, because it kind of makes you realize in your life that there's a lot of things that we actually take for granted.
Sure, definitely.
Now, with all that being said, where are some of the places that folks can go to through these groups? I mean, it's not just something here in the U.S. I heard you mention around the world.
Definitely, around the world. Some popular destinations for American volunteers include Peru, Costa Rica, as well as South Africa, India. You can really pick where you want to serve if you have a specific interest in a culture or geographic location. You can pick.
Pick and choose.
Pick and choose.
From the long list, right?
From the long list, really.
Well, we're kind of framing all this around the fact that it is now summertime officially.
Yes.
Is this just a summertime thing, or do these organizations do this sort of thing year-round?
People do it year-round. We do see an increase in the summertime because usually people have time off or want to take that summer vacation. But trips can be arranged around your schedule. It could be as short as a week to a year. And so there's a wide variety of opportunity to do this sort of volunteering.
Yeah. Well, Genevieve Brown there with International Volunteer Programs Association, and I've actually written more about this on our blog at netny.net/currents. You go there, you click on Riding the Wave, and I've posted some more information about IVPA, the International Volunteer Program Association.
That's great.
There's much more ahead on Currents, so stay with us. Welcome back. As we get set to celebrate the 4th of July holiday, a lot of folks may be out firing up the barbecue, packing up the cooler, getting the burgers and the hot dogs ready. But first, we wanted to actually take a look at what the holiday really means.
Right, what is it all about? And to help us, we found a young person with an award-winning vision of what it means to be a Catholic citizen. She is Catherine Koutsalvis, and she's a high school senior whose essay on that topic won first place for her age group in a contest sponsored by the Tablet and the Knights of Columbus.
And we actually sat down with her a few days ago to talk with her about what inspired her. But first, we wanted Catherine to read part of her essay. Have a listen.
One of the largest responsibilities a Catholic citizen has in a free society is to vote for politicians and people in government who share these beliefs and will help make said beliefs an integral part of government and possibly even make them into laws. Since America is a representative democracy, it is a Catholic citizen's duty to elect representatives that will promote moral ideals and protect the fundamental rights of all humans all over the world. These ideals do not simply apply in America. Upholding these beliefs and protecting fundamental rights applies all over the world. This idea is summarized in Solicitudo Rei Socialis when Pope John Paul II said, "Political leaders and citizens of rich countries considered as individuals, especially if they are Christians, have the moral obligation, according to the degree of each one's responsibility, to take into consideration, in personal decisions and decisions of the government, this relationship of universality, this interdependence which exists between their conduct and the poverty and underdevelopment of so many millions of people." This quote shows the importance of interdependence and the importance of protecting life and Catholic beliefs all over God's planet.
Such an eloquent and very well put together essay, I must say so myself. And joining us now is Catherine. She's here in-house to kind of talk about it. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, tell me first of all, what made you write this essay?
Well, actually, it was a class assignment. So I had to take government and economics for senior year in the history section of my schedule. So in my government class, the second quarter of my senior year, my teacher, Sister Eileen, handed out the papers and saying this was an essay contest, but she wanted to make it a grade, so we would all have to sort of challenge ourselves to write this essay. And that's really the reason I wrote it, but then from there I just had to become inspired by the topic and try to figure out what I wanted to say and what I wanted to do, and then I was fortunate enough to have my teacher submit it to the contest.
So you didn't know that it was getting submitted?
No idea, not until after I had written it and she had graded it, and then she said, if you would like to have your essay submitted, talk to me. And then she actually came up to me at the end of the class and said, I'd like to submit your essay. And I was like, sure. I made the slight corrections, put a cover sheet on it, and it was submitted. So.
Right. Good.
And the rest, as they say, is history.
Exactly.
Celebrating 4th of July, Independence Day, America's freedom and whatnot. Tell me a little bit about the essay itself and the responsibilities that you feel as though Catholics have within a free society.
Well, as I said in my essay, it's just to sort of promote Catholic ideals and moral beliefs that, and share them with others. And we do live in a free society where a lot of people have a lot of different opinions, and so it's important to get your voice as a Catholic or as a Christian out there and share with others what you believe and why you believe it, and make sure that they know that. And then also, as I said, to vote for people, if you can vote, that would promote those ideals and have them be an integral part of the government. So.
Gotcha. Now, as part of this contest, what did you win when you won?
Well, the main prize was a $200 scholarship, essentially, and
cool.
A certificate with my name, which was nice.
Awesome.
So, and that was and like a nice reception.
What are you doing with the money?
Saving it.
Oh, you're going to college, right?
Yes, I'm going to college.
She's a smart girl.
That'll be pizza money come September.
That's the hope, is that I'll have enough food, money to feed myself once I get there. So.
Pizza and ramen noodles.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, before we skip ahead to that, because I want to get back to that and talk a little bit more about school with you, tell me what the 3 main points are basically that you cover in your essay that you feel as though you can or people can if they want to advocate for. Well,
the 3 main points I made were, speaking of topics like abortion, death penalty and embryonic stem cell research. And just with all three of those things, remembering that as Catholics, it is sort of our role to, or most certainly our role, to promote that life as the fundamental condition and that it is sacred in all forms from birth until natural death. So just promoting alternatives to things like abortion or embryonic stem cell research and preaching forgiveness when it comes to things like the death penalty and stuff like that. So those are the three main points that I made throughout my essay.
Do you think that people, are Catholics in particular, are doing enough to get their voices heard?
I do think so. I mean, they're definitely very vocal, which is a great thing. And we have the annual March for Life in DC and things like that. The Catholics are very prominent in their beliefs and do a lot to help it be more prominent in government and share it with others. So I do think that the Catholic citizens that are in the U.S. do a great job of trying to promote those ideals.
And you call it a right of life, the rights of life, including, the embryonic stem cell research and, the death penalty and the abortion issue. When you look at those issues, what do you advise other peers, perhaps younger people, to do? You mentioned the voting.
Well, just if you can vote, to vote for those that believe in the same things you believe in and that will support the same things that you support. And also for themselves to know if they're in a situation where that would become part of their life, either abortion or something like the death penalty, or to just know alternatives and to know about the topics enough that you can speak of them and know what's going on.
And why do you feel so connected to your faith? I mean, what is it that makes you feel so passionate about it? You seem to really detail your argument very well. You quoted the Pope a couple of times, your article, your essay. Very much something that, obviously wasn't just an assignment. Certainly an assignment, but not just an assignment.
Right. Well, recently, this is going to sound sort of random, but I had to apply to college. And that was a much more difficult process than I ever expected it to be, because it was suddenly faced with where I was going with the next 4 years of my life and what I was going to do. And when the plan sort of changed in a very radical direction that I wasn't expecting it to, I became very faithful in the sense that I saw that must have happened for a reason. And it was ever since then that I was able to sort of look at faith as something to hold on to and something that you can believe in even when a lot of other things change and a lot of other things seem to be going the way that you don't think you never thought they would.
Right.
Faith is that one thing that you can really always resort back to. And so that was a recent, very powerful experience that I had. And so that sort of inspired me partly to write what I said in my essay. So.
All right, and you're off to Bard, so
Yes.
I guess they'll be expecting you in the fall. Yes. That's all we have time for right now.
All right, well, Catherine, thank you so much for being here as a part of the
you.
show today. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Wasn't Catherine so much fun to interview?
She was great. She was just so well spoken and so well put together. It's wonderful.
Well, she's a model citizen, so to speak. I mean, she's young. She's a class valedictorian. She's going to college. Obviously, has strong convictions and whatnot that she wasn't afraid to talk about.
Yeah, definitely not afraid to speak up. I'll tell you that. Well, she is definitely going places in her life, and hey, we're going places too. When we come back, we'll head to a couple of local parishes to hear what others are saying about the upcoming 4th of July holiday and their thoughts about faith and America. Stay with us.
Finally tonight, what is your prayer for America?
Well, that is the question that we asked parishioners at St. Roch's and St. Adalbert's on Staten Island. Here's some of what they had to say.
My prayer for America is that we will be able to finally put down the Roe v. Wade and come to really appreciate and respect the dignity of every human life.
I would hope that the economy would be better for people to have more jobs, for people to have more money so they can keep their homes open for them to live in.
Peace, to bring these soldiers that we love so much, men and women, bring them home to their families.
Hopefully, somewhere along the line, we come to our senses and realize that America is for everybody, not for certain people.
The freedom to practice their religion and worship their God and, love one another.
To remember all of our veterans from other wars, and also, especially now, to remember those that are fighting for us.
That God remains in each of us and everyone comes together to do good for the nation and for each other.
If we look out for each other, it's pretty hard to be angry with each other.
I just pray for peace and that the children of the world will see a better world than the past generations.
So everyone would be a little nicer.
That all the boys come back safe.
Personally, I'd like the war to be over very soon.
For the homeless in this country to find food, shelter.
The greatest tragedy facing this nation is abortion. I'd like to have it abolished.
The president will be able to do his job as fully as he can.
Maybe a good Hail Mary would be the best thing for everybody because she's the one always watching over us.
Everyone could have a safe 4th of July and they could celebrate and drink responsibly on 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July! Happy 4th of July.
Well, some prayers for America from Staten Islanders, and some great ones too. I really liked what the woman had to say about, if we look after each other, it's kind of hard to be mad at each other. So that's a very good uplifting prayer for America.
That's right. Yeah, in community there is kindness. It's sort of necessitating that. And I like the fact that one woman said to basically pray for the homeless and the hungry, and of course our troops abroad. And even just one gentleman just reminded us that if we are going to imbibe, to drink and drive responsibly and have all, that's a good check for 4th of July for people to remember.
Absolutely. Well, that is definitely our prayer for you all on this 4th of July holiday weekend. We hope that you have a safe one.
And that's it for this edition of Currents. You can always watch us online at netny.net/currents. And I am Francesca Maxime.
I'm Matt McClure. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great 4th of July holiday.